Our guest today is Jay Reel. Jay, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Good.
Sheltering in place.
You're in Texas, right?
Yes, sir. I'm in a small town called Mexia. It's spelled Mexia, so it looks like Mexia, but it's pronounced Mexia. About 7 or 8,000 people. I don't know exactly what the population is, but it's about 45 miles, I believe, east of Waco.
Okay. I've been to Waco. I'm not sure how I got there, though.
I actually was there this morning. I went with a friend, was going to his kidney doctor, and I didn't get out of the truck. I just waited for him in the truck, but he wanted some company, so I rode with him today.
Well, I went there because we went to see the Waco Mammoth Park in Waco.
Oh, okay.
Well, I first heard of you when you were offering a short, Dawn Year 7,
Yes,
last
sir.
year for to be shown at various film festivals. And I contacted you and invited you to submit it because I really liked the little film. And tell me about this is a prequel to a film you did called Dawn in 2003.
Yes,
So,
sir. Seems like a lifetime ago now, but yes, sir. Oh gosh, it was a concept that I had about 8 or 9 years before, and just never could really figure out what to do with it. About a human father with a vampire daughter, little girl, and he was a single parent, and he was having to move from, keep moving to keep her fed and to keep her alive. And I just couldn't figure out what to do with the concept. It wasn't until 2000 that I wrote a short story and had a beginning, middle, and end. And from there, I started working on a little script, a little screenplay. And around 2000, early 2002, I contacted a friend, Ray, who plays the father in the original movie. And at that time, digital video was kind of the in thing, those little tapes where you could edit on the computer. And he basically said, I sent him the short story and sent him some, pages from the script, emailed them to him. And he basically just told me, look, you can do this. It's not going to cost a lot of money to do this. And he really was responsible for me making that movie, just supporting me. And, I went to work, getting the script finished and then started, getting in contact with people that be interested in playing parts in the movie. And just one thing led to another, and made my little no budget movie, shot in the summer of 2002 and finished in the summer of 2003. I put my last edit on it in August of 2003, and Bart Weiss, who runs the Dallas Video Association, he still does, sent him a VHS copy of it, and he liked it and they were doing a little festival screenings for independent films. And we got 2 showings at the Angelica Film Center in Dallas. And so we actually got to see our little no-budget movie in a movie theater. So, a lot of the locals from Mexia came over, and we got to sit down and watch my little movie. And yeah, the original was much more of a group effort, friends and family and friendly strangers getting together and helping me make my little movie. The Dawn Year 7, fast forward 16 years, and I live out here alone. And I actually live in Lake Mexia, which is about 10 miles from the town of Mexia. I'm about half blind. I'm on disability. I've never had a driver's license, so I have a friend that frequently comes here, takes me to town to get, groceries and that sort of thing. And I was living alone out here, and just so I would like to do this again. I'd like to make a little film and see if I can do it. It's been so long since I had done something like this. And I had written a self-published book called Dawn, Year 7, the title of the short film, which is a prequel to the movie Dawn. And I sold that at a few horror conventions, the book, like I say, self-published through lulu.com. And I wrote me a little segment, the script, which is basically the first 20 pages of the book, which became Dawn Year 7, the short film. And did the same thing, just started putting little notices online, local Facebook groups, saying I'm looking for actors, and found Chloe and found her father, Jeremy, to play the part of the father in Dawn, and Connie Copeland, who runs a horse farm here in Mahia, and then Chloe's grandfather. So they're all Lyles except for Connie Copeland. They're all from the same family. Vance plays the doctor, Vance Lyles, and got it done, and started entering a little film festivals through Film Freeway, and just sort of learning the process, which I had never done that before. I've never entered a film into film festivals. And like I say, it's been so long since I've done anything like this. It was kind of like sticking my foot back in the water, so to speak, sticking my toes back in the water, just to see if I could do it. And, I'm glad I did it. I was hoping that people that had seen the original would enjoy it, even though I guess you would kind of call it a soft reboot, because the original film, the father character was driving my mother's 83 Mercury. And in this version, Dawn Year 7, the father's driving a hybrid car. So, it's, but it's kind of, I call it a soft reboot, it's a prequel and sort of a reboot, because it's set a little more in modern times, but same characters, same story. And it's just a little segment of these characters' lives.
How did you like working with the little girl? Did she do well on the set? I know she did a good job as an actress.
Yeah, Chloe. I had known some of the Lyles, some of her family. They used to live here in Mahia, and they recently moved to Waco. I knew of Vance, the grandfather, and Cindy, and I might have met both of them, the grandparents, at some point or another. So I sort of knew, I kind of was glad there was sort of some people that I knew, sort of knew. But yeah, Chloe, she was 8 years old, and she's a kid, and just enjoying coming out here and just hanging out. She's one of those never met a stranger type kids, so we got along right away. There was a little incident early on the first shooting day. The thing with making something like this is, okay, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay, that's good. Let's do it again. And she got upset and started to cry. And I just, oh God, I thought I'm making a little kid cry, and then her mother was there at the time, and of course her father, and explained to her, no, Chloe, it's not that you're doing bad. This is just how movies are made. You do it, then you do it again, and you do it again. And when I'm sitting there and I'm editing, I've got these different takes to choose from, and that's how you make movies. And she brightened right up and finished the day fine. And just coming out, and once she learned the process of retakes and multiple takes, once she learned that process, I had no trouble with her at all. You do these multiple takes, and then you find the one, okay, that's it. That's the one I want. And it wasn't until surprisingly, the last day of shooting, uh, we had discussed this. I said, the first day I met Chloe and her, she came down with her family. Look, there's going to be at one point you're going to have a lot of fake blood on your face. You know, I want to give spoilers, but she kills a person in the little short film. And I said, at some point you're going to have a lot of, and it's just corn syrup. Is all it is. It's corn syrup and food coloring. It's not going to hurt you. You can even eat it. You don't want to eat it, but you can. And she laughed about that. But it wasn't until I actually brought it out and she saw how realistic it looked that she got upset. And once again she started to cry, and of course I'm there, and Connie, that was so wonderful with her. Connie Copeland, that plays the woman that she meets, was so great with her. And she came down with her mother that day, and we were all explaining to her, look, it's not going to hurt you. But it was just turned out that was a personal fear she had, blood. And I guess it was one thing to talk about it and just sort of picture it in your mind, but when she actually saw it and saw how much like actual blood it looked, she got upset. But finally, it was Connie that, I left her alone with Connie, and Connie had talked her down and calmed her down, and we got our shot. And I think that's the best shot in the movie, where she's after the final credits, where she's weeping and holding this woman and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was so proud of her.
Yeah, it's kind of funny you're talking about the blood. I interviewed a guy, Vance Major, a few days ago. He does Star Trek films and fan films. And he has a 3-year-old son. And he said he always takes his son with him to the sets and all that. And he even got him to help him make the fake blood, which they were using chocolate syrup and red food coloring.
Yeah.
And when they saw, and when they were showing the episode of the little short film they did with his dad all covered with blood, he'd like point at the screen and say, chocolate syrup.
Well, it's funny you mentioned chocolate syrup, because the original Dawn was shot in black and white. I always wanted to make a black and white movie. There's a movie, one of my favorite independent films is called Down by Law. I don't know if you ever saw it, by Jim Jarmusch.
No.
Tom Waits, Roberto Benigni. I forget what the other actor's name is, but it was shot in black and white. It was a modern movie shot in the 90s, early 90s, I think, but it was shot in black and white. And I was taken with just that process of actually intentionally shooting a movie in black and white, for the look, for the feel of it. And I always wanted to make a movie in black and white. And so I always said, if I ever make a movie, I want to shoot it in black and white. And Dawn, the original Dawn, is shot in black and white. It's, like I say, it's digital video, it's full screen, it's, but I really like the look of it. I'm glad I did that too, because of the limitations of digital video and the video look. I think shooting it in black and white helped a lot in the final look of the movie, the sort of decrease that sort of video, look, make it look a little bit more like, I don't know, maybe 16 millimeter or something like that. Not exactly, but closer to it. Shooting it in black and white, But
I think a lot.
But anyway, you mentioned. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you mentioned chocolate syrup. There's a scene where the lead, the father, in a nightmare sequence, is spitting up blood, and that's what we use, chocolate syrup.
There's I think a lot of directors or filmmakers, at some point when they want to make a film early on in their career, they at least make a short, or if not a feature, shot in black and white. It seems to almost be a rite of passage for people to want to try that genre of film. I did myself, so. And it's got a pretty long history, of all those horror movies like Night of the Living Dead and all the classic Dracula and Frankenstein.
Sorry, but didn't Alfred Hitchcock shoot Psycho? He could have shot in color, but he intentionally shot in black and white.
Yep, he shot in black and white. even more comedy movies like Paper Moon with Tatum O'Neal and Ryan O'Neal. That was shot in '73 in black and white, just because they wanted to get a period look for it. There's just a
Yeah.
quality about black and white that's different.
But now you mentioned Paper Moon. That's something. We're kind of simpatico here because I mentioned Down by Law, that movie, as being a big influence. That was another big influence on Dawn itself. And the story of Dawn is Paper Moon, a father and a daughter in kind of a road movie, you know. And I was influenced by that style of filmmaking and that actual story, you know, kind of see sort of a similarity between Dawn and Paper Moon and just the way that it's done with the father and daughter sort of, you know, on the move, you know, and traveling from town to town and such.
Yes, there's like a whole genre of films that are like that. If you go back, you've got True Grit with Pam Dauber and John Wayne, a cowboy movie that's like a 12-year-old girl and a man, and she sort of bosses him around. You've got
Yeah.
Paper Moon. You've got Leon the Professional with Natalie Portman and uh, what's this guy's name's Reno something or other. You've got the most recent one I can think of is Logan with, which is a Wolverine is an old guy,
Right.
and he's got a young girl with him too, and I can't think of her name, but it's another traveling movie. They're trying to get her to some place safe.
And it's those kind of movies, those road movies, I call them, like Down by Law, like Paper Moon, that when I would see a movie like that, I would think, you know, I could do that maybe. You know, it seems like it's a much more simple form of filmmaking that you're just telling you're telling not necessarily a simple story, but the way the movie is shot is something that I felt like, well, maybe I can do that. You know, it's not going. There's no special effects involved. There's no, you know, it's no. It's nothing that couldn't be done with the limited resources. You know, something like a road movie or something like that. And I knew I was going to have extremely limited resources. You know, with the original and with this one too. This one, the Dawn Year 7 was shot with a DSLR, cheap clip-on microphone, clamp lights, those lights that you can get at Walmart. You know, and you know, very, you know. I always say it doesn't matter what it looks like behind the camera. It can look like Sanford and Son behind the camera as long as it looks good in front of the camera. And well, it remains to be seen. The person, you know, that watches the movie will decide if I did a good job or not. Because in this case, I did everything myself. And the first movie was definitely a group effort. And like I say, my friend, you know, Ray, that played the father in it, he helped me so much in making the original movie. And just everybody, the original girl that played Dawn, Casey, she's a mother of two girls of her own now. She's a married woman, which is just astounding to me. But they brought her down, her stepfather and her mother brought her down from Dallas, which is a good 100 miles or more, you know, a couple of 100-mile round trip, not getting paid or anything, to come down to be in my little movie. And so
How
that's,
old was she when she was in the movie?
she was 10.
She was
Yeah, she's 10 and turned 11. And Chloe, this actually, the year 7 takes place 3 years before the events in Dawn. And so, well, it kind of, the titles, you know, says her age, 7. She was actually 8, but she's a little girl, Chloe, so small little girl. So she definitely could pull off 7. But yeah, thinking back to that original, just how learning the process of making a movie. My friend Mark, who passed away in 2010, he was my cameraman, he was my DP, and we had done so many things, and I'd known him for years, and and we had done a lot of little projects. He was actually the filmmaker at the time. He won a lot of awards for short films. And so, he was my cameraman, and just the way everyone gathered together to help me make that movie really just was heartening. How nice people can be and how accommodating people it can be, and not asking for anything, not asking for any kind of payment or money, but just to be involved in it and to help me make it as good as I can do, and make it as good as I can make it. And I found in making my little short film, there's a similar feeling, although it's a very, very much smaller movie. It was just me and the actors this time. Me half blind behind the camera, so there was a lot of retakes because I'd lose focus and didn't know until I got it on the computer, and and saw it later, of course. So I have real simple shots, but when her fangs, Chloe's fangs in the short film, the a local dentist provided those fangs, did everything for free, did the impressions of Chloe, did everything, and made the fangs for her. And I think they look great, and not asking for anything but just credit in the movie. And that's something that I was really impressed with, is how people still do that. If you ask them nicely and you're sincere about what you want to do, and you're, friendly towards folks, they'll help you. They'll help you get things done. That's nice to see.
Where did you shoot this movie at?
It was shot in the town of Mahia. When they're sitting the first scenes in the car was shot just outside of Mahia on some back roads. I wanted that kind of down a country road look. When Chloe is in the car with her father and reprimanding him about falling asleep at the wheel, that's actually shot here at my house. I live in a wooded area, so it was shot near the woods here in my house, or here at my house, on my land. And then when they're sitting at the bus stop, that was shot there in the town of Mahia. And it actually was an old bus stop. It's not anymore, but it used to be an old bus stop.
All right, let's move on to something else. I see in your IMDb page, it says Chester Grimm's Mausoleum.
Yeah. Well, Ray, that played the father in Dawn, he and I got together and collaborated on this sort of. It started out sort of a spoof of the old horror hosts, the old, like Swinguli or Zachary or Elvira, the old horror movie hosts, that would be on the TV station and, come in, during a horror movie and make jokes or whatever. And, so it was started out as kind of a spoof of that. And then as it evolved, it became more about Chester and he's got a puppet friend, Mr. Wormser, and it became more about behind the scenes of this little horror host show. And Ray did most of the writing on that and most of the directing, and I think he did. Some of that stuff is just hilarious, I think, and I wish more people would see those shows. And I can sort of be, even though I'm prejudiced, of course, since I didn't do most of the writing and directing on that show, I can kind of step back and just say, well, it's genuinely funny. A lot of that stuff I think is really funny, and but that's what that is. Yeah, that's I play Chester Grimm in white makeup with black lipstick and black eyes and black hair, and play this very broad character, this old horror host character, this Mausoleum with us. Yeah.
Have you been working on anything since Dawn 7?
I wrote a script, a comedy, sort of a comedy sci-fi script called She Made a Monster. And basically, it's a girl, she's kind of a nerd, kind of like young Sheldon. And she's invented a teleporter machine, kind of like the Fly. And she's going to zap her grandmother's television into the backyard to test it out. Well, the problem is there's a Japanese monster movie showing on the television when she tests her teleporter, and instead of zapping the television into the backyard, she actually zaps the monster into the real world. And basically, it's all you hear the monster outside of the house, stomping around and killing people and eating people and smashing houses and stuff. And it's this sort of sitcom, the inside the house with that little girl and her family trying to figure out how to deal with this, how to deal with this monster that this little girl has created, that's destroying the world outside. And that was the idea. Yeah. Chloe was going to play the little girl, and it was going to have, other members of the same cast of Dawn Year 7. And I was already set to start making my movie, and then the plague hit. And so everything's at a standstill now, of course. I like the script. I think it's funny. I think it would take a lot of work in editing. That's where the main work would be, in editing, in post-production. So we'll see what happens with that. But like I say, what we're dealing with right now, everybody,
Well, I hope you get to produce it. I'd like to see another film by you. I'd like to see Chloe again, a little bit older this time, but it'd be an interesting thing. Is there anything you'd like to tell people who might be interested in starting in filmmaking? And any tips or advice or things you've learned along the way?
I don't know if I've learned much other than just do it. I hate to steal an old shoe ads slogan, but really that's it. You have a story to tell, and you've got friends or family or whatever to support you. And it's so different now as far as distribution and getting something seen. Of course, back in the original Dawn, pardon me, I was still sending out screeners on VHS, and finally J.R. Bookwalter's Tempe Video picked it up for a 5-year distribution deal. And there was a lot of independent labels around back then. Most of those are gone now. In fact, Mr. Bookwalter's Tempe closed, late last year. So, of course, there's YouTube, and there's a lot of places now to get your stuff seen, and Film Freeway, which is what I uploaded the Dawn Year 7 to enter film festivals and stuff. So there's definitely ways to get your stuff seen. But no, like I say, same holds true as it did then. I mean, you can shoot movies with your iPhone now, high definition, widescreen, high definition, and, if you've got a story to tell. And I edited Year 7 on free editing software, so you can spend very little money and get your story told. And I guess that's the main thing, is just stick with it and pursue your dream, so to speak.
What software did you use to edit it?
It's called Hit Film Express.
Okay, I know that one.
Yeah. And I edited the original Dawn on a ancient version of Premiere. I think it was Premiere 6. And I found that the Hit Film Express, once I downloaded it, it had a lot of the same features. It did everything I wanted it to do. Pardon me. And like I say, it's a very simple film. There's no special effects or anything like that, so it did that software did everything I needed it to do. And I thought it looked, handled the working with high definition, footage, which is, those files are so huge now, when dealing back with the digital video. By comparison, high definition is just huge, those files. And I found that the Hit Film Express worked really well with those high definition files, those HD files.
The original movie Dawn, the last time I talked to you, it hadn't been available anywhere. Is it still unavailable?
Well, that is the hope, that it will be available. Now, the original Dawn has been out of print for, 9 years or so. There's a few copies. I mean, if you were to search Amazon or eBay, you could probably find a copy of the original Tempe release. Amazon wants way too much because it's out of print. There's secondary sellers selling copies of it, but they want way too much for it. So the hope, in talking with Ray, is to put out. He did a great remaster of the original cut of the movie, and fixed some technical flaws and such as that, and did a real good remaster of the original movie and the original cut of the movie. And hoping to get that out before too long. Likely, it's going to be in something like it's going to be on something like DVD or Blu-ray. I looked into some streaming services, and it's kind of cost prohibitive right now what that would cost. So it's most likely we would put that out. The remastered cut of that movie would put that out on Blu-ray or DVD or both, with a few extras, and because, like I say, it's been so long. There's a handful of people, that I still talk to that have seen the original and enjoy the original, but for most people, it's a new thing. It would be like seeing it for the first time. And like I say, it shows its age. It definitely is a no-budget movie, but I'm really proud of the performances in it and how the story came out. And I do want people to see it. And hopefully before long, we can have a copy of that movie available.
All right, Jay. I'm going to end this now, and I'll talk to you again soon. I hope to see this movie when you get it finished.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I appreciate all the support.